everything's good people, little egocentric, little, he's got a hella ego. Alright, cool people though, cool people, very easy to get along, especially nowadays when I see him. He's made a whole change in his life now, and he's a lot better person. I just love the guy to death now. I didn't really like him when I was in the band. In fact, I hated that motherfucker. I didn't like him at all. It was like, dude, fuck him, you know? And it was like, Flea was kind of the main person who kept me in the band. I didn't like him at all.
He's a lover, you know? I think he likes to spend time with his woman and with his dog and just be at peace riding his scooter around, you know, and taking in nature. He loves children, you know. We go out to dinner and he always talks to kids in the restaurant and loves to just contact with people, you know.
He was always like the kind of guy who would like, if we run up a hill, he'd run faster. If we lifted some weights, he'd lift more weights. If we swam out and tried to surf, he'd like catch the biggest wave. He was like really an aggressive kind of go-getter.
Flea's, you know, tries to stay grounded in humility and spirituality, and when he gets on stage, he lets loose like a Super Bowl.
Flea was just always kind of like my dog. Like I said, we were friends straight away. We would just go and do stuff that I never did before. Like first time I ever went skiing was with him. He took me skiing.
Because I kind of left Hollywood and moved out to the country. Oh. Where I just go surfing every day and, you know, when I'm not working.
Flea likes to surf. He likes to just be peaceful. He likes to watch movies and read, and on his time off, he likes to probably go to Costa Rica or Australia, where he's from, and he likes to really connect with nature and his spirituality.
Flea might have taken me to my first yoga class with Gurmukh. I'm falling into Gurmukh.
John is John. He lives his life for music. So when he's on stage, he's playing music. When he's at home, he's thinking about music or listening to music or learning how to play a Depeche Mode record, or teaching himself how to operate a synthesizer, or, you know, he dedicates his life to that.
Working with John's great. He's unbelievably creative. I mean, his mind is working all the time on what he wants to do, and watching him build background stacks and find harmonies and different parts that would really go with Anthony's vocals and also with his own guitar parts. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
I think John is pretty consistent on and off. You know, it's always about the music for him, and movies and art, and very much into that. Always looking for something new to learn or to inspire him or to take in and become a part of him.
He's really intense, but a lot of people who are really creative are really intense. So there's, you know, you kind of walk in and hit the ground running. You know, you're hitting record from the moment he walks in the room.
And Chad is just, you know, solid. He's a drummer, and he kind of lives his life that way too. Everything is very steady and solid and consistent, you know, very amiable, Midwestern type of guy. You know, we'll talk to anyone, we'll have a beer with anyone, and looking to have a good time and enjoy life, you know.
He's great. He's just a great drummer. He picked up the 2 tracks we were doing, picked them up immediately, knew exactly what they needed, and just played. And he's a very distinctive drummer, you know, you can kind of hear it's Chad, which is great.
And Chad is a regular guy that, you know, he comes home, he golfs, he goes and plays gigs with other people, he, you know, runs around, visits his kids. He's always into something, you know. Chad is always about having a good time all the time.
You know, it's like everyone's friends. It's like they're just, you know, regular folk. Granted, you know, now they're wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, and, you know, move in circles that I didn't think they'd ever felt like, you know, they would be invited into. You know, we still get together, and it's just, you know, It's like I haven't become some big monetary huge success, but that doesn't lessen, I don't have to like back down in the conversation because I didn't achieve. It's like, you know, because back in the early days, I was the one who had a job, and I used to have to feed Flea and Anthony. We used to go down to Schwab's over on Sunset when there was still a Schwab's. It was a famous Hollywood drugstore and coffee shop. It's weird when your friends become huge rock stars, because I remember the first time Flea signed an autograph, we were like, huh?
The Red Hot Chili Peppers have been in the industry for over 20 years. On their more recent albums, Californication and By the Way, a mature and ever-evolving sound is attracting an even more diverse audience.
Well, one, I think there's been blips, but they've generally got better. Is one thing. You know, they started actually, you know, writing songs, and they made their style a lot more concise and a lot less kind of jam happy. It was a lot more aimed at, you know, the listener and the radio.
They just love what they do, you know, and it's what they do all the time. And I've never heard any stories about the band where, oh, it's this person or that person. It's always, you know, oh, what are the Peppers up to? And you know, very much into their music all the time.
They're very good at reinventing themselves image-wise. You know, their videos are always very well thought out. Anthony Kiedis is really pays his way as a frontman. He never looks the same twice. He loves to come back, you know, with different looks. He talks a good game in the interviews. They're all interesting characters to talk to, so they've always given great press.
The greatest thing that sticks out for me is the fact that they've constantly stayed current and fresh. And fresh may be almost retro at times, but it's, you know, I think it's clearly a good place to be.
I think visually they've kind of reinvented themselves. Musically, I don't think they have. I really think they've carried on doing what they do. They've always been careful to have at least one ballad, if you like, on every album. You know, once they saw what Under the Bridge could do for their career, they took mental note, and they've used that very carefully. But they've managed to get themselves into a class of one, and no one's really, although there's a lot of bands out there who are influenced by the Chili Peppers, no one's really done it like they do.
Their music had to develop and mature as they did, and as they will continue to. And so, you know, a band that plays the same songs over 20 years or so and continues to play the same style of music, I think you couldn't help but getting burned out. And so I think, particularly when John rejoined the band a few years ago, that was really a shot for them that showed them the possibilities of going into kind of some other ranges of music